We're live in Baltimore at the University of Baltimore, where students are gathering. More are going to be walking out of class in protest of a decision that was announced on Friday that Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, the billionaire heiress who's a privatizer of public schools, her family has given millions of dollars to the Republican Party nationally and in Michigan. She's opposed guidelines for sexual harassment, how to deal with sexual harassment and assault on school campus. She was announced to be the commencement speaker in the fall of this year, and students are outraged. And they're holding a protest here and a walkout. I'm here with one of the students who's organized this. Can you tell us your name and how you came to this decision to have this protest?
Hi, my name is Hess Stinson, and we came to this decision to have this protest because the school was supposed to be student-centered and a school that, fosters and creates leadership. And so we thought that, we're not sure what the intent was in him inviting DeVos here, but, who we are as a student body, we thought that it would be better to demonstrate that we are unsatisfied with the decision because she does not represent anyone who is going to be getting or receiving a public education.
Okay, so I'm Keanu Smith-Brown. I'm the Vice President for the Student Government Association. I'm here today to just support the students and what they're fighting for, and that is to not allow Betsy DeVos to come here as our commencement speaker in the fall 2017.
And to be clear, did the Student Government Association, did students have any say in this pick happening?
So on September 6th, they had a faculty senate meeting where they announced it to the entire Senate and said that, no, you have no say in this. This is what's going to happen. We were told the day after, September 7th, when many of the other students found out, and that was when we knew. Betsy DeVos is willing to cut funding for public education, billions of dollars. She's willing to cut funding for Pell Grants, and she's willing to roll back on the Title IX enforcement on campuses. So, of course, we cannot have a speaker who represents those policies and viewpoints here, motivating and inspiring our students, but we don't stand for that.
Well, my name is Ron Kipling-Williams. I'm actually an adjunct professor here at the university. I graduated here, got both my bachelor's and my master's degree, and I teach ethics here at the university. As a former student here, as a professor, and as a community activist, it is an insult for someone who, like Betsy DeVos, who's antithetical to all of which we stand for, to be a commencement speaker. This is a sacred time for students. So this is a time when we need somebody that is going to reflect our values, that is going to move us forward, a progression to where we need to be. And she is actually a regression. So that's why I'm out here, and essentially to support the students and to support the community at large.
In a statement, the University of Baltimore defended the move. Among those in attendance were two Democrats vying for their party's nomination for the governor's race in 2018, former NAACP head and Sanders campaign surrogate Ben Jealous and Alec Ross, a former Obama administration official.
She's been Secretary of Education now, like 6-7 months? And in that time made it very clear that she's hostile to the very notion of public education itself, that she prefers vouchers. She's also, frankly, signaled that she intends to weaken the protections for students against sexual assault on campus, and at the same time made it easier for banks to charge students more.
I'm opposed to her because, look, I was a 6th grade teacher at Booker T. Washington Middle School in West Baltimore. I have 3 kids in Baltimore's public schools, and Betsy DeVos has waged war against public education. And look, that gets my blood up. As a former teacher, my wife's a teacher, my 3 kids are in public schools. I think having Betsy DeVos come in at a moment of celebration is just wrong.
We asked them if they thought the Democratic Party's support for charter schools and so-called school choice helped pave the way for the rise of DeVos. Some critics, like Diane Ravitch, former Undersecretary of Education under George H.W. Bush, say DeVos is really sort of picking up on policies the Obama administration supported with race to the top, education privatization. Do you have a different vision for public education?
In this case, what she's actually signaled she's attacking are things that the Obama administration pushed through. She's going right after the sexual assault protections that they made happen. Diane Ravitch, at different points, has sort of supported and opposed every leader in the last 20 years, if you go through her history. And I'm not up to date on her latest, but what I would say is this is a moment when the students across the country have made clear, and we saw it in the Bernie campaign, that what we should be working on aggressively is greater and greater college affordability. In Maryland, we're pushing to make our public 2-year associate degree granting institutions free as a first step. But as we end mass incarceration, we have to make public higher education free all the way through.
Ravitch and others argue is that charter schools divide and they weaken public institution, public education as an institution that sort of opens it up to the private sector coming in, because once people lose faith with public education, then they want an alternative, and then the private sector pops up as an alternative. And that's sort of what happened in Michigan and places like Detroit, where charter schools constitute a large amount of the public education there, but they haven't proven to be any better than the normal public schools.
Yeah, I think what we need to do is make sure that the good old-fashioned neighborhood elementary public schools, like where my kids go to school, so that they can become schools of choice. I feel like the jihad that exists in public education right now that pits charters against non-charters ultimately does not serve the 97% of kids who can't go to charter schools well. And what I would really wish we would do is, instead of saying, oh, charter schools can fix everything, I wish we would focus on making our neighborhood elementary, middle, and high schools schools of choice.
For the full live stream of the event, go to facebook.com/therealnews.